All right, welcome back to Found in the River. My name is Mark, and today we are at Orange Grove Sink in the West Skiles Peacock Springs State Park in Live Oak, Florida. And today there's no one here. It's a really crappy day for doing anything outdoors other than diving. So we are the only ones here today. So as you can see, it's raining, there are thunderstorms, but we're going to go ahead and do a dive. We thought what we'll do is at the end of the dive, when we're about to turn around, we're going to create a situation that a lot of people hear about. If you're a cave diver, you've already experienced it. But for those of you who are not cave divers yet, or not even divers maybe, we're going to generate a silt-out. So you can see what it's like in a real world situation when you actually get down to very low or no visibility. You probably hear, if you're a DiveTalk subscriber, you hear about the silt-outs, and Gus and Woody have shown you what it's like in a silt-out. But what we kind of want to mimic is the not knowing it's about to happen. So some of the dive stories that you'll hear, some of the stories about people who have perished in the caves, are usually non-certified cave divers who go in and they will just do their normal swim. Maybe they have a light, maybe they think, oh great, wow, this is cool, let's go check it out, and they swim into the cave. And you've seen this in the videos, the 911 Rescue 911 video that Gus and Woody reviewed, and it's where Woody Jasper actually came in and saved the day for a couple divers, but then one of them had perished. And this was back way back in the late 80s or 90s, or early 90s maybe. I don't remember exactly when it was, but long story short, what we want to kind of show you is how fast it can happen and how unexpected it can be. So if you're doing flutter kicks through these caves, you will definitely be surprised at how fast you can be silted out. Now, as we're going through, I'm going to reach down and I'm going to pick up various types of silt, or the stuff that's on the ground, to kind of show you the difference. Some of it's very fine and powdery, some of it is super thick and sticky, and you'll see that as I pick it up and kind of show you on the camera. We also will encounter the little crayfish and things, and I'll leave that in the video. The blind crayfish, they lack pigment and eyeballs because they live in total darkness most of the time, except when the cave divers go in and light the caves up. But anyways, we'll get to the video. I don't want to over talk it too much, but just kind of wanted to explain what we're going to do and kind of what we're going to show you. We figured we'd take this opportunity, since we know there's no one else coming in anytime soon, that we would generate a little bit of silt and then show you what it's like live, even with flashlights, even with your extra air. It can happen so fast, and we just kind of want to show you that, but we will wait till we're about to turn the dive before we actually do that. But I will show you the silt on the way in. I've noticed, as reviewing the video, that the camera did get some moisture into the casing, so it's a little bit of a kind of a soft edges look. I'm going to try to filter most of that out. It's not the highest quality video we've done, simply because there was moisture between the lens and the camera housing. So I do apologize about that. But next week we have what should be a phenomenal video coming up of a different kind of dive. We normally, you'll see us in the caves, but we're going to take family and friends out and do a different kind of dive, and it should be beautiful. It should be absolutely stunning, especially for people who haven't scuba dived in Florida in the springs. But should be a real nice way to show you what you'll see if you ever decide to take up scuba diving, and how beautiful it can be, and how much life there is in these rivers down here in Florida. So anyways, without wasting a bunch of your time, let's go ahead and get into the video, and I'll try to keep my mouth shut as much as possible, but I will point things out here and there. So here we are about 100 feet from the entrance, actually, and there's the first time I wave and I show you kind of the soft silt, the the almost like a powder, um, and that silt is, it could be dangerous, obviously, especially if it's in high quantities. But the silt that we find the heaviest or the most dangerous in this particular cave is the thicker sediment at the bottom, that if you stick your hand in it, it's almost like a tacky glue, but it's very thick. The consistency of it stays kind of floating in the water for a long time. There is flow in this cave, however, it's not as strong as it would be over on the other side at Peacock 1, meaning the Peanut Tunnel, the main line, or the Well Tunnel. There's not as much flow on this side of the park, the state park. And Orange Grove is, more or less it's a sink, it's a sinkhole, but it does go into the cave systems, and it does join with Peacock and all of those things if you do a couple jumps. But this particular day there was not a lot of flow, but there was just a little bit. And so that's why we decided to wait till we turn the dive. So we'll create a little bit of a cloud, and then you'll kind of see it. Now here we are. Aaron kicked up a little bit just with his fin. I think it came off the ceiling maybe. But when we do generate the cloud, you'll see as we swim, it's kind of, it's in that flow coming out of the cave with us. So we're only I'm going to do a couple flutter kicks just, as we're turning, and that cloud that we generate will kind of follow us out a little bit, maybe a good minute or so. But you'll see I'm going to be very close to Aaron, but you'll notice that it's very difficult to see him, even though he's 3 feet in front of me. So you can imagine yourself getting, silted out in a cave like this, maybe not knowing where the line is, not knowing how to, read the line and the markers that they have in place. If you're a open water diver, not versed in, the cave training, it could be very dangerous for you. And, we, as Gus and Woody pointed out in the video, they reviewed or reacted to that we had posted, and that was the Eagle's Nest video. We were lucky that something like this did not happen to us on at that time, because there was certainly the possibility that it could have, and they even mentioned that in the video. So we had no business being there at that time. We did not have the training that we have now. And we have a much deeper appreciation and understanding of what we actually put ourselves through as far as the level of danger that we unknowingly were participating in. So, but as you see here, Aaron's just swimming through the cave there, and I don't know if many of you know it. I just wanted to point out, Aaron is he's became a cave diver at 16 years old. He this past week he turned 17, so he's officially 17 now. But he is one of the youngest cave divers that we know of. We do know 4 cave divers that are between the ages of 17 and 18. And I'm hoping that in May next month we can actually get a video of maybe the 4 of them diving, and then possibly do some sort of interview, or maybe even have Gus and Woody interview the 4 youngest cave divers that we could find. We think it's fantastic that young people are embracing this and taking it seriously. It's not a game to them. They understand the dangers, but they also understand the importance of the caves and the aquifers in Florida, and the evidence of life that you can find, and they appreciate it. It's not to my knowledge as a father, I don't see my son out there partying on the weekends or creating mischief with his friends. He would rather be in here, and it's an honor to know that these kids would rather be in here with their parents doing this sort of thing instead of being out there, being little hoodlums. Like some choices are made, and some kids do that. Maybe they've not had better instruction or life experiences, but we're just grateful that the kids are appreciative of this and love to do it with us. And that I'm talking about myself and my son Aaron, and then of course our dive buddies Paul and Nick. They couldn't make it here this day, so we were hoping that we could all do this together, but it just didn't work out that way. You'll see just there, I had I didn't get it on camera, but I was wafting my hand in front of the silt just to see what type of silt I was at that point. And you see it gets all kind of dusty there in the frame. Now, this is, if I didn't say it before, this is what they refer to as Upper Orange Grove. And this is a full cave system and actually joins to the tunnels over at Peacock 1, where you would take Orange Grove Sink over to Challenge Sink and then jump over to Olson, and then go through Olson back to Peacock. And a couple of the friends that I have, other cave divers who dive this area a lot, were under the impression that Upper Orange Grove was nothing more than like just a deep shelf cut into the limestone. And if they're watching, I'd love to let them know, hey, you need to check this place out, because it's a really cool cave. Lower Orange Grove is the one that a lot of cave divers go to, because it's just a big loop that actually is underneath the cave system we're diving in right now, and it just makes one big loop. But it does dip down to about 170 feet. So and it's challenging. There's some tight restrictions getting in and out. Gus and Woody actually did a video on a open water instructor who ventured into Lower Orange Grove and almost didn't make it out. It was a close call. The guy was very lucky. I'll link that video in the description. If you haven't seen DiveTalk and haven't seen Gus and Woody, please go check it out, because that channel is phenomenal. If you're a diver or interested in diving or just like the underwater diving footage, they provide some really phenomenal information, a lot of education, and a lot of hilarious content as well. So it's a very well-rounded channel. It's fantastic. They have exploded over the last year. They've gone from under 1,000 subscribers to about 150,000 now, and it's very well deserved. So go ahead and check out that video. I will link it to in the description, and it's worth checking out, and that'll give you a good idea of what Lower Orange Grove looks like and the dangers of getting into a cave like that without the proper training. So here we're coming up to where the cave kind of goes vertical, and it gets kind of tall, and so I'm going to float up above. What I do is I inhale here so that my buoyancy goes positive and I can get up above Aaron and kind of show the depth or the height of the cave at this point. And there are some really cool turns and twists that we're going to go through shortly. You'll see that as well. I think, yeah, he's coming up to one of the turns now. So it's a hard right-hand turn, and you'll see him kind of disappear. I'll go down and kind of look into the areas that are just below that, and then I'll make my way back in and follow him through that small area there. And as I get close to the rock, you can kind of see that soft edge thing that I'm talking about, where it's almost like the camera lens was foggy. And again, I apologize for that. We strive to make, better quality videos each and every time we go out. And this particular time, I failed miserably. So yeah, we were a little upset when we saw it. We were disappointed because this is the first video we've made in this particular cave system. But you can see this very narrow passage here, and then it opens up. Aaron now makes another turn to the right. And as you can imagine, being in a place like this, if there wasn't a guideline and you had to try to find your way out of this place, even with the best scenario of having a couple lights with you, it would be very difficult, because these things are worse than the mazes you find at a state fair. There's so many possible exits, and they're false exits, tunnels that shoot off in all directions. And it'd be very difficult to find your way out without the guideline. Now here I'm going to scoop up a little more just to give you an idea. You can see there's a lot of the soft powdery silt there, but if I reach in a little deep, there's that sticky stuff again. And the sticky silt creates a very dark cloud. It's very difficult to see through, and you'll see that when we get up here to our turnaround point. When we turn the dive, that's the type of silt that I'll be flutter kicking in, just to show you how quickly and how unexpectedly the situation can turn grim for people who don't understand the dangers of the caves. And when I say dangers, I simply mean that, is cave diving dangerous? No, cave diving itself is not dangerous. It's just a matter of having the right equipment and the proper training to make sure it doesn't become dangerous. There are things that could happen in caves that can, there's things that can happen in open water dives. But in this particular case, we're more focused on, keeping the dangers at bay by following the proper protocols and the proper kicks, things like that. Now you'll see the double arrow, 900 feet pointing that direction and 900 feet pointing back. That simply means we are at a halfway point between the entrance we came into and an exit at Challenge Sink, which is going to be 900 feet ahead of us. We're not going that far, not on this dive, but it's something we probably will film in the future. The traverse from Orange Grove to Challenge. If you were to take Orange Grove to Challenge and then Challenge through Olson back to Peacock, I believe they refer to that as the Grand Traverse. There might be another stop in there as well. I don't remember. We're not at a point where we are doing such a large dive, such as the Grand Traverse, that requires stage bottles and some deeper gas planning. Not depth deeper, but more involved gas planning. So you'll see here, I like this cave system because it's kind of like a roller coaster. It goes up and down, and there's different features and different, you saw the vertical, height, and then it shrinks down to a smaller cave again. There are small openings, large openings, tall openings, wide openings, and some, really cool twists and turns. Right about here, you see that hole that I just passed over. I thought it would be a really good idea to kind of get in here and then push the camera up and get a shot of Aaron coming up behind me. However, it didn't work out the way I thought it would. I didn't even have the camera pointed at him, as it turns out. As he was trying to tell me that as he was going past, but he could see where the lens was pointed, and I really couldn't tell based on where I was. So I kind of messed that up. And what you see, I could have cut this out, but what it is I'm trying to take my arm and stick the camera up through that hole, and I just didn't have a way to really tell which way the lens was pointing. I thought I had it right. I thought the camera was up a little bit, but as you can see, I just got a whole face full of dirt there. So Aaron, we're about to do our turnaround. As soon as he sees the next arrow, that's where he's going to turn around, and I'll start. He'll give me a little signal. I don't know if I'll catch it on film. I don't think I did, but he'll give me a little signal, and we're going to turn around at that point. But I'll do my last 4 or 5 kicks as a flutter kick. And you can see the cave is low, therefore the vortices that come off the fins are going to make a big difference. They will generate a cloud, and I promise I'm not kicking into the silt. I'm not doing anything crazy like that. I'm just doing a normal flutter kick, and you'll see the results of that. So right here, I think right here is where we decide to turn, where he gave me a little signal to turn around. Yeah, right about there. He's touching the line, so he knows that I'm getting ready to do the flutter kick, so he doesn't want to turn around and be in the in the cloud when it happens. So and I think, yep, right here is the point where he's saying, okay, let's do it. So, and actually right here at the turnaround, I happen to see a little crayfish. There he is right there. So Aaron is turning around, and I am flutter kicking at this point. You might even see in the frame, it should show some silt coming up, or coming past me actually. I'm just looking at the crayfish at this point. There it comes. There's the silt. And you'll even notice that the crayfish, when he kicks, right now, he's going to generate a little silt cloud himself. So here we are. We're turning the dive. And you'll notice that when I turn around, Aaron's in front of me, and the silt storm has begun. All right. And I do want to say, normally, obviously, Aaron was the first one in. He ran the reel, and he would be the last guy out. And we will change positions a little bit later on. Right now, for the sake of filming what it's like to swim into one of these silt clouds, he's going to be in front of me, so you can see that you actually lose sight of your buddies when this happens. And he literally is 2 to 3 feet in front of me. He's holding the line. I'm holding the line, because that's what you're supposed to do. And right here, this is no joke, you can barely see the line on the left. He's right in front of me, and I don't see him. I can see some slight reflection off the silver on his tanks, but that's it. But you'll see at some points how close I am to him, and still unable to so I'm starting to see him a little bit. My lights reflecting off his tanks is really the only clue I have that he is there, and I see his light as well up ahead. Now we are right now, the video light is what he's running, but he does have his Orca-Torch D620 as his main cave diving light, his primary, and then we have several Orca-Torch secondaries, tridaries. And right there, he turned his light off for a second so we could see just how little. I mean, there would be no chance that somebody's going to make their way out of there if they don't know how to find the line when they lose it, or in a silt out. And right there, you may have heard me say, "Holy crap," because it was for just a couple kicks. This thing is sticking with us. There's his fins. That's how close I am to him. So it's starting to lighten up a little bit. I can see his fins. I can see his tanks and the glow from his light. But other than that, you don't see any features of the cave. And now this stuff is actually kind of sticking with us. We're not swimming fast, not as fast as we could, but at the same time, we just want to give you a sense of, the cloud will stay with you. If you're in a high flow cave, it may stay with you all the way to the exit. So he turns around and says, okay, now we're out of the cloud. Go ahead and go in front of me. We'll get back into position. I do like to let him go past me a couple times. Oh, another crayfish. Our little buddies. So we do like to switch position a couple times just so I can get a head-on shot of him coming out, simply since you're not looking at it, so that you're not looking at his butt the whole time. It just makes for better video. So here we are. Now we're in a clearing. The cloud is kind of subsided, but you get the idea that, that if you're in a cave and you're not cave certified and you're doing your little flutter kick that you learned in your open water class, when you turn around to go out of the cave and you don't know how to follow the line, or if you didn't run a line, if there's not a line in the cave, you could be in serious crap. And so many people have gone to their deaths by just simply wanting to explore. And don't think for a second that we don't understand that desire, that attraction to explore these caves. That's what got us into trouble, a couple times. When we were not certified to do this, we took some chances that we had no business taking. And unlike some of the people you'll see in DiveTalk's videos, we were very, very lucky that nothing serious ever happened to us. I'm not going to say we didn't have some close calls. We did. But I don't talk about that normally because I don't want to glorify it and make it sound like it's something cool or an accomplishment to overcome the things that happened to us. We're fortunate that we were able to overcome it. So I don't really want to get into long discussions about that unless it's in the proper venue. I just don't want to glorify it and make people think it's okay to go into these places without having everything that we have now. We were stupid for doing it, and we feel so much better now. We have a much better appreciation for those protocols, the rules, the training, because we, as you just saw, we understand what can happen now. We didn't have that education before, so our open water instructors, they did say, oh no, don't go in the caves, don't go in the caves, it's dangerous, don't go in the caves. But maybe if they're not cave divers, if those instructors were not cave divers, maybe they've always heard it's just too dangerous, you don't have the training. Maybe they were not able to convey to us the real dangers that exist. So I think even Gus and Woody are open water instructors as well. And so they could, being cave divers, they can explain and show things to their students and make them understand. You have no business being in here unless you've gone through the classes and you have the proper equipment. We didn't benefit. We didn't have that benefit when we were coming up through the ranks. We were just so attracted to this stuff, and our sense of adventure and lack of common sense kind of put us in situations that we were very, very lucky to get out of. So please don't do this without the proper training. Talk to somebody, get the training, get your open water certification, get your advanced, get your nitrox training, get those things, and then, do a cavern and an intro to cave class at the very least so that you understand the full extent of everything that can happen when you're in there. Please. And right here, you see me trying to, trying to jockey for position to get a good shot of Aaron coming head on. And this is another unique feature in the cave. It's just a couple twists and turns. I call it unique, but to cave divers who are watching, you're going to be like, that's just normal crap. But I wanted to kind of get into a position where I could just get some cool shots of him coming out of different places. And I'm riding kind of at the top of the cave, so I'm actually getting my bubbles are knocking some silt off of the top. and you kind of see that falling down. It doesn't really cause a big problem, at least not in this cave, but I just wanted to get a kind of a clear shot of him coming through this little crevice and then on past me. If you're wondering, you'll notice that Aaron usually will point his video light, and you see his D620 on the left hand and the video light in his right hand there. We don't have the D620 on at this point. Normally you would, but the dive lights, those powerful dive lights, they create kind of like a lightsaber effect in the video. So we're running the video light as the primary, which that's typically not what you do, you know, when you're just doing a cave dive. But for the sake of the video, we're both running video lights with our primary lights ready to go, and of course all of our backups. But you'll notice that Aaron usually points that light in the opposite direction, or actually in the same direction of my camera lens, that my camera lens is pointing. And what that does, it helps to illuminate the background, so that you can kind of see the features of the cave that he's swimming through, and then my light is lighting up where he's at, you know, coming up to. Right there, I don't remember what was causing that little bit of a silt out. It could have been the bubbles that when I had turned around, but that's not too bad. I can still see him pretty clearly, even better than it appears in the video. And again, the fog on the lens kind of, you know, causes a little bit of a distortion. Now, as we're coming out, you know, getting ready to come out of the cave, you'll notice, because I didn't get footage coming in, I thought the camera was on, but that's, for some odd reason, it turned off. I must have bumped the button. But that's why the video started when we were about 50 feet in, or so. So what you'll notice is as we come out, the water right now is really nice and clear. But on the surface, you know, you saw the rain and the thunderstorms in the beginning of the video. The surface is very tannic, and that's because the river that the state park is kind of branched off of. There's been a lot of rain coming through, you know, Georgia and North Florida, so all of that water, the rivers become very high, and then it starts, you know, bringing some of that tannic river water into the spring area, and so you'll see that it's what's normally very crystal clear, just as it is right now in the video, is normally very clear, but it's going to be very dark, and you'll notice that when we start exiting the cave. So that's just also another point, that even though the water on the surface might be, you might think there's no way I'm going down there. Once you get to the entrance of the caves normally, or just 50 to 100 feet in, normally you'll have water like this. There are times when if there's been a lot of rain, that the cave is what they call blown out for hundreds of feet. But normally you'll have pretty good luck. Now, something I take for granted that I don't always talk about, and I don't think many of us do when we're making these videos, you'll see Aaron look down at me right there. He's basically checking on me. Now, there's a reason why he doesn't try to turn around left, right, or spin around, and that's obviously because we're in a small area, not a tight restriction, but just a small area. And if he were to try to turn around, that would probably cause a little bit of confusion for the rest of the divers, because there's no need to turn around. We're on our way out. But the proper way to, look at your buddy, just to check on him if you want to, is to basically kind of dip your head down, your feet up, your head down, and kind of look behind you real quick. That's the proper proper way. There is a proper way to look back, I guess, is my point. I know this video is a little bit longer than our normal videos. It's going to run on into 40-45 minutes. So I actually wanted to take a moment to thank you guys. There's a lot of people, a lot of the new subscribers, and there's people who've been with us for a little while. And for some odd reason, I don't fully understand the YouTube admin part yet, but there are times where I'll get a notification saying, this person has subscribed, but I don't always get that. And I'll notice that the count is going up, but I don't know who has subscribed. I can get a list of subscribers through the admin channel or the admin portal, but I don't know that it shows me everyone. And maybe it's just that I'm not familiar with it yet to get that full list, but I do want to give a shout out to people who have supported us for a while, and also some of the new people that I've been commenting back and forth with. Heather SZ up in Pennsylvania, we want you to know that we're with you, we support you, we hope to see you diving again soon. And we hope that everything that's going on in your life is settling down for you, and that a sense of peace is out there for you soon. But thank you for watching us. Thank you for supporting us, and you've always been very kind and in your support. So thank you. Vintage Lightman 83, want to say thank you for subscribing and watching and making comments on just about every video you've seen. We do appreciate that. Anthony Quay is a new subscriber, so I want to thank Anthony. I've got I'm pretty sure this is from outside the United States. It looks like Freddie, and then I hope I don't screw up this last name, Stokel, STOE CKL actually. Stekel. I'm not sure how to pronounce that, but I hope I didn't screw it up too bad. DBR Slayer 15, we appreciate you subscribing. The 88 Cheat, we commented back and forth a couple times this month. I appreciate your subscription and your support as well. Saul Diaz, we want to say hello to you and thank you again for subscribing and watching the videos and sticking with us through our growing process. There was a new subscriber, just simply 3 eyes, or I guess 3 ones maybe. That's a mysterious name, but thank you, 3. K Young D was also a new subscriber this month. We want to thank you for subscribing, checking us out. And if you guys would, we don't understand what is happening as far as the number of subscribers that are suddenly coming to the channel. I know a lot of people are from DiveTalk, so if you don't mind, if you would, when you do subscribe, please, you'll see some of our subscribers will came from DiveTalk and then give a little explanation. Please do that. Please let us know how you found us. Was it just something in YouTube that popped up because of your interests, or maybe you put in diving or scuba as one of your favorite categories? Did it come up that way? let us know how you actually found our channel. That would be fantastic, because it's going to help us understand, you know, what we owe this growth to. Obviously, we owe it to you guys, but how are you finding us? That's what we really are interested in. Another subscriber that I think of off the top of my head, Florida Boy Adventures. We want to thank you for joining us, and we just thank all you guys for appreciating the videos we make, and hopefully we're, you know, doing you proud and getting better every time. Again, this video was a little bit of an exception, you know, with the quality, simply because of the lens was fogged up, and we'll make sure that we don't run into that again. I just simply didn't look at the front of the lens when I put it in the case. I'm sure a raindrop got in there and just kind of set the tone for the whole video. So I do apologize. I hope you can appreciate the video regardless of that. But again, thank you guys so much for just checking us out and for subscribing. That really does mean the world. We never thought we'd even have more than the 23 subscribers we had 6 months ago. It just, you know, Gus kind of, you know, put some information out there on us, and we gained, you know, probably 50 to 75 people in a single week from that, and then it's just been going up from there. So I don't know if it's word of mouth. I'm not sure what's happening, but we just appreciate the heck out of it. And you know, my son is, you know, just turned 17, and he's really enthused and excited about, you know, the growth as well. You know, it's like we're both amazed every day when we see the count go up by 2 or 3 or 4 or 5, and you know, one day it went up by 12, and we were just like, what is going on? I even sent Gus at DiveTalk a message and said, hey, did you do something, because we're just getting a bunch of subscribers today. And when I said that, you know, here we got 12 in a day, right? Well, then I'm looking at I'm asking a man who gets 1,000 a day, you know, and I thought, how silly am I to say such a thing? But he did say, he said, no, I didn't say anything, didn't do anything. It's just, you know, that's the growth. And I thought, wow, that's really cool, you know. So, but thank you guys. We do appreciate it. Now the video should be ending soon. You're going to see when we come out how dark it actually is, and we're coming up to the exit at this point. That orange cookie you saw was pretty close to the entrance of the cave, and you'll see our reel, and you'll also see me kind of swim ahead. He's gonna, you know, Aaron will point to me and say, okay, we're getting back to the entrance. I'm the guy that does the reel, so you go ahead and get in front of me. He may have already said that as I was talking, because it looks like we're coming up to that point now, where I will go ahead of him. And also you will see from one of our previous videos the cookie that I'm using. You'll see me reach down and grab it. It's a really easy cookie to grab and remove from your line. As you'll see, it's a yellow, basically it's a yellow bread tie, bread bag tie, or clip, I should say. And it squeezes in from the sides. You just lift it off, and you'll see that it has my name on it. And even though we had a little video on it, this is an idea that came directly from Gus and Woody to us, and then we just kind of took it and ran with it. But you'll see it. Here I am swimming in front of him, in front of Aaron, and I'll go up to the reel and remove my cookie. And this is just an alternative to the standard cave cookie. They're very easy to deploy. Some of the DPV divers love them because they are very fast to deploy and retrieve. So here we are coming up on it. You'll see my little clip. You'll see my name right there, and I just basically squeeze it, pull it off, and I've got it. I don't have to fiddle with the line too much. Right here you see the cave sign. This is the entrance to the cave, and this is actually several feet back. The actual main line that we tie off to there is several feet back from the entrance of the cave, simply to kind of dissuade non-cave divers from coming into this area, because once you get to this point, it may be very difficult to find your way back to the surface. So you'll see here Aaron is picking up his reel, and now my job is to keep the tension on the line for him as we swim out, because we've got a couple placements where we tuck the line under a rock or under a ledge to keep the line nice and taut. And now he's pointing, saying go ahead and go. and I'm kind of holding the camera with one hand and doing my job at the same time. But you'll see me kind of removing it from the what we call a little line trap here and there. Right here you see me pull it from underneath that ledge, and I'm still keeping the line tight so that he can reel it in and not have a big loopy mess on his reel. And the angle of the camera is not the greatest, simply because I'm kind of holding it with one hand and doing keeping the tension on the line with the other hand. You see the line goes under the rock. It's a little line trap that just helps the line stay close to the ground, out of the way of other divers. And coming up to, this is actually where the actual entrance to the cave begins, and you'll notice there's no light there, and that's because it is very it's not nighttime, but the light doesn't penetrate through because the water is so tannic, and it's just a crappy day. Here I'll remove this from this branch, kind of tie it around the branch twice, and then we're going to move up to the primary tie off. And I'll remove that, and he reels the line in. And then I'll show you basically the little bit of light that does come through. And at this point, we are truly in open water, but the only light you see there is from my video light. So there's the primary tie off that he did in the open water. I'm going to loop that off. And here you can't see it, but I'm removing the line from the tree, and you'll see Aaron coming up, excuse me, reeling up the final 2 or 3 feet of the line, and then we will exit the Orange Grove sink, and you kind of see how crappy it is when we get up there, or how dark the water is. You can see now it's very tannic, and we are literally where the sunlight should be penetrating to, and it's usually very clear here. You can see everything very clearly. Not today. The water rose in the river, and so all this tannic water, or the tannic whatever it is from the trees, the roots, the decomposition of the vegetation, it's kind of clouding that water up pretty good. Not clouding it, but making it very dark. I would say the water clarity, or it's still clear. It's just a different color, maybe like swimming through a light coffee. So now we're going to do our safety stop, and then we'll be heading up to the surface. All right, we are both clear of our safety stop, and we are headed up, and you'll see him say, let's go ahead and go. And now you can kind of see I'm pointed directly up, and very faint sunlight coming in. You can see it's green, brown, a little bit of everything, maybe camo water. But we are making our way to the surface. There you see, that's it. That's the extent of the light getting through. And it is it's not a sunny, bright day, but it was a little bit of a challenge finding the opening to the cave. But once you got down there with your light, the water, like I said, is clear. It's just dark. So we went in and had a great dive. So we appreciate you guys watching. Thank you so much. And again, all the subscribers that I mentioned, if I didn't mention your name, it's not because I didn't want to. It's just because we didn't get, we don't get notifications of everyone. I just kind of kept a note of the people that we were getting notifications of, and I wanted to give a special shout out to Heather SZ from Pennsylvania. We're thinking about you. Again, thank you guys for watching. Thank you for subscribing, and please, if you're coming to our channel from someplace else, please let us know how you found us, and just in the comments. That would be fantastic. It's not that I'm trying to drive up my content or my comment count. It's just that I'd love to know how you guys are finding us, and if it's not through DiveTalk, I would love to know, how the traffic's making it to us. Because whoever's doing that, I want to write them a thank you letter. So, thanks again. Hope you enjoyed it. Let us know in the comments if what you think. What can we do better? There's comments. Some comments say they like to have the music in the background. Some people like to have the commentary instead of just the breath. Some people love the 45 minutes of nothing but underwater bubble breathing. Let us know. Thanks a lot.